Hello everybody, you're welcome back again to the Reggae Appreciation Society. It goes without saying that Culture is one of the greatest roots reggae bands of all time. Led by the charismatic, mercurial and iconic Joseph Hill, the band emerged on the scene with their debut album 27's Clash, which has gone down as one of the greatest roots reggae albums of all time and have unleashed other incredible compilations over the years. But from their magnificent discography, I personally rate 1996's One Stone album as a standout body of work and a flawless 10/10 effort that easily sits at par with Bob Marley's Exodus or Tosh's Equal Rights album. The One Stone album was the first in a series of wonderful releases that poured out from the fertile mind of Joseph Hill in the years leading up to his death in 2006. An album that was the perfect balance of sublime hypnotic instrumentation and the powerful piercing lyrical messages delivered by Joseph Hill in his passionate raspy tenor. Released 20 years after the formation of the group, it marked a new level in Joseph Hill's musical development as one of the all-time icons of roots reggae. Let's take a look at the One Stone album, Culture's roots reggae masterpiece. As mentioned earlier, the album was released exactly 20 years after the group was formed in 1976. After a split in 1981 that saw backup vocalists Albert Walker and Kenneth leave the group, Hill continued operating basically as a solo artist under the name of Culture until both men rejoined in 1986. The trio released 7 more albums together until Kenneth finally left the group in 1993 after the release of the album Trod On. His exit led Hill to reorganize the outfit totally. Culture for some time had been using an elite backing band called Dub Mystic for its numerous tours and concerts. But with the exit of Days, he would recruit Dub Mystic's own vocalist in Iriolano Malomo to serve as his replacement. And as he began to write songs for his next album, which would be One Stone, he also made the decision to also use Dub Mystic as his studio backing band and chose to record this new music at the incredible Mixing Lab Studios in Kingston. It was this combination of a fresh album on the horizon after 3 years, as well as the new personnel and burning issues on Hill's mind that culminated in the devastating brilliance of the One Stone album. He had always sang his songs in an almost tutorial style, imparting current information to his listeners and making declarations. But for this particular album, he took his role as Rastafarian militant newscaster and commentator to a whole new level. The first track on this album is the majestic Addis Ababa, a lovely tribute to Emperor Haile Selassie and the capital of Ethiopia where he came from. And from the opening crack of the drums, followed by inspirational horns, puts the listener on a high even before the chorus kicks in. It's a delightful salute of a song that extols the exploits of Rastafari as well as the land which he ruled from for 44 years. The only thing wrong with the song is that it's too short at just over 3 minutes. And while you're still enthralled and tingling at this opening track, the second song on the album, A Slice of Mount Zion, flows in with a charming drum roll that's followed by inspiring trumpets, an addictive bass line, percussion, a sprinkling of synthesizers, and rhythm guitar in a bouncy and charming rhythm that's among just one of the best reggae instrumentals I've ever heard. Lyrically, A Slice of Mount Zion is pure Rastafarian gold, a prayerful admonition of Jah people to shun materialism and not worship power or riches, but to aspire towards living right and making peace with your God. And Joseph Hill's vocal delivery is so honest and heartfelt, and when he says lyrics like, I'm willing Jah to lay down at Zion doorway just like a footmat, even the saints of Zion trod upon my back and enter in, you have no choice but to believe him. Definitely my favorite track on the album. And as it ends, leaving you tingling after 4 minutes and 7 seconds, you're greeted by the title track, One Stone. This track moves from the pious, prayerful grace of Slice of Mount Zion and into more cheeky territory, with Joseph Hill ready to ruffle feathers. Rastaman throw one stone, and it brings a bad feeling to all wicked men. When Hill was asked what inspired him to write this song, he replied that he was inspired by an epidemic of jealousy as well as the eventual futility of high-handedness by the high and mighty in society. And this inspiration is evident in lyrics like, if Rasta makes a progressive move, wicked man a red eye. A part I also love very much is where he mocks Babylon and the end of apartheid in South Africa, which had happened just a few years before. President Mandela was in prison for 20-odd years and released from the prison and takes the seat of the president. The next track, Tribal War, has a very serious title but delivers a very hard message in a very playful tone. It's a comical song and plea from Hill to the people of Jamaica and indeed the world at large. to come together and stop fighting. Typical Rasta messaging, but delivered in a very humorous Joseph Hill style, all riding on top of a catchy rhythm. But just when you think that One Stone is all easygoing stuff, the next track, Blood I Go Run, bears its militant fangs. It's a very menacing, almost 4-minute warning to Babylon that if it doesn't get its act together, the next generation of youth will take it to war on a level never seen before. The song opens with a military marching band type drum roll that rumbles on imperiously throughout the whole song, perfectly accompanied by wicked synthesizers and the whole package, masterfully put together and delivered by the Dub Mystic Band. And lyrically, Joseph Hill mercilessly taunts Babylon with what may come in his usual solid performance. But to me, the true heroes of this song are Noel Pond on the drums and Neil Barry Aitken on the keyboards. The next song, I Tried, doesn't let off and is a lamentation about lack of understanding and wisdom in the world, despite Hill's endless attempts to show them the truth. This song was originally part of Culture's International Herb album, which came out in 1979, but was wonderfully remade by Culture and Dub Mystic for One Stone. The next tracks, titled Mr. Sluggard and Get Them Soft, tackled an epidemic of lazy men in society as well as drug use, specifically cocaine. One fantastic factor of this album is that there are no bad tracks and you just cannot skip a single song, as Joseph Hill takes you on a journey of harsh truths, humorous critiques, and pious admonitions, which are deeply in pure Rasta philosopher territory. As each song ends, you come away feeling like you just received a priceless gift, a ringside seat into the depths of the wonderful mind of a maestro and great minstrel of reggae music. Now this point takes me to the 10th track, Down in Babylon. All the songs on this album give me different feelings and put me in different moods, but Down in Babylon is the only one that brings me close to tears. The opening lyrics and chorus, "Where are all the Rasta man that used to be down here in Babylon," really hits hard, as Joseph Hill laments sorrowfully about the decline in the numbers of Rastafarians and how he no longer sees the many Rastas that he looked up to while growing up in Jamaica. The ones who built schools, traveled from place to place, sharing wisdom and love. The Rastas who worked community farms and generally helped to uplift society in their own little ways. These introspective and melancholy lyrics were all accompanied by a mellow but steady rhythm that will keep your head bobbing as the message truly hits you. A fantastic song, but very strong and sobering commentary about our rapidly changing world. And really, when we think about it deeply, the Rasta men were a lot fewer in 1996 when Hill wrote this song compared to the 1960s and 1970s when Hill was still growing up. Imagine how few are left in 2023. When you also consider that Joseph Hill himself is no longer with us, it hits even harder. The 11th and second to last track, titled Rasta Man I Come, is a Nyabingi drum-led classic, telling listeners to prepare for the return of Jah Rastafari on Judgment Day and to live right and holy if we want to live to see when the Rasta Man I come. 12th and final song, Girls, 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 is once more a track on the album with a misleading title. On first glance, you aren't sure if it's something slack, but when you listen, it's another humorous number instructing young men not to keep numerous women and girlfriends, but instead to find one woman to love and have babies with. An excellent end to a phenomenal collection of music that is the One Stone album. Many opinion polls and commentators regard 2/7's Clash as Culture's best album, but to me, One Stone comes very close, if not at par with their debut. The album featured a rebranded Culture with Kenneth's replacement and Dub Mystic, the new studio backing band, which knew Culture inside out after establishing incredible chemistry with Joseph Hill on the touring circuit. Personally, I rate the instrumentals on One Stone above any other Culture project, and the songwriting is simply out of this world. It's the greatest modern roots reggae album I've seen yet, loaded with heavy uncompromising messages that were testament to Hill's consistency as one of roots reggae's Rasta militants, a lofty standard that he maintained up until his death 10 years after. It was also a timeless musical take from his perspective of the world in the mid-1990s. And when you really scrutinize his viewpoint at the time and line it up with the way the world has shaped up since then, you find that his prophetic credentials are way up there with the likes of Bob Marley and Peter Tosh. I rate One Stone as a flawless 10/10 masterpiece and undoubtedly among the greatest albums of all time across all genres. So there you have it. Thank you for watching the video today. Please leave a like, subscribe, and until next time, Jah bless.